Have you ever spent a lot of time and effort designing a website and then your end users don't end up using your website the way you intended it to? This is where a heat mapping tool can help. And I can show you exactly how a heat mapping tool can help you by going through a real-world example on my website. In essence, my website is comprised of thousands of blog pages. Each page has three primary objectives. The first objective is to teach a reader about the particular topic I'm writing about. The second objective is to try and entice someone to buy one of my books. And the third objective being to get someone to sign up to my newsletter so I can keep in contact with them. Just using the data from Google Analytics alone, I can't actually tell if these components actually help me with my objectives or not. And this is where the heat mapping software comes in. Now, the next thing is most of us don't have the budgets to pay for this type of software. And this is where this video is going to help. Because in this video, I'm going to show you how you can install some free heat mapping software within a Next.js application so you can perform this type of analysis on your own websites. When it comes to analysis that's going to be a complete game changer when it comes to helping moving the needle, then the first step you should always take is smashing on the subscribe button and helping me out with that pesky YouTube algorithm by clicking on the like button. Now, if you haven't come across my channel before, my name is John and I do weekly YouTube videos that will help you become an absolute coding legend. So if that sounds good to you, you know what to do. And as a thank you from me to you, I'm going to show you a picture of a very confused looking heat map. Clarity is a heat mapping tool created by Microsoft. And because you know that Microsoft's using it, you know that it's going to be GDPR compliant, CCPA compliant, all that kind of stuff because they're very regulated. Now, in terms of who uses Clarity, companies like Pizza Hut, Acer, Forbes, and even if you're not that size of organization, you can start using Clarity today. The best thing about Clarity, it's 100% free. And according to this webpage, 100% free forever. Assuming that you've made it to this part of the video, I'm guessing the next thing you want to know is how you can install Clarity within your website. Now, the first thing you need to do is head over to clarity.microsoft.com. After going to Clarity, log in using your Microsoft account, and if you haven't got one, create one for free. After logging in, you're going to see a dashboard like this, and the first thing you need to do is click on the big New Clarity Project button. Clicking on this is going to prompt you to add in a project name and a website URL. After creating your Clarity project, you're going to need to install the Clarity snippet into your website. To get started, click on the Get Tracking Code button. This is going to give you access to the tracking code that you need to install inside of your application. Now, this is vanilla JavaScript, and because we're using Next.js, the most important thing to jot down is your project identifier. You can find this at the bottom right of the snippet. It's going to come after the Clarity snippet, and what you want to do is make a note of this thing here. An alternative way of installing the Microsoft Clarity snippet into your Next.js application is to make use of the React Microsoft Clarity npm package. You can install it using npm react-microsoft-clarity. Then after installing it, all you need to do is add in the Clarity ID and you can start getting tracking instantly. We are now inside my Next.js application and I've opened up my package.json. Now I've already installed my Clarity package in here and you can see this in action within the dependencies script. So within here, you can see that we have react-microsoft-clarity. So don't forget to do that. Now, because we're working with Next.js, we want this Microsoft Clarity snippet to run on every single page request. And then in order to create a global layout, you create a file which is called _app.js. So this thing here. Now, app.js will be automatically applied on top of any of your page templates. So in order to install our Clarity snippets, because we want it to run on every page, all we need to do is install some code in _app.js. Now, in order to keep my _app.js clean, I often actually abstract a lot of the HTML into a separate component. And in my example, I've got this layout component. And as you can see, a layout is wrapping everything there. So looking in my layouts component, you can see that I've added a reference to Clarity, so import Clarity from React-Microsoft Clarity. I've also needed to install a use effect. So we need to wrap it in use effect, otherwise you're going to get an error. And we can see my use of use effect in effects, tongue twister, right below. So we've got this example here of use effect. We're using the Clarity API. We're using a method called init, and then within init, I'm pasting in that ID that we copied in the previous step. And this little bit of code here is all we need to enable heat mapping. The next step is to ensure that Clarity is installed and configured correctly. So open up your website, then go to inspect, click on network, make sure that JavaScript is filtered. Then we want to refresh our page and then filter. And then within this list, hopefully you should see that clarity.js is appearing. Then clicking on clarity.js, you should hopefully see that we've got a status code of 200. This means that Clarity is installed and working correctly, and now we can start analyzing some data inside of Clarity. You'll know when Clarity is successfully installed because you'll go to your project dashboard and you'll see some insights. So as well as getting all the classic Google Analytics stats, things like sessions, page views, we can also get things like dead clicks. We can get excessive scrolling issues. We've got JavaScript errors. We can get browser usage, operating system usage. So there's loads of really useful insights. Now for me personally, I think the coolest feature of Clarity comes within the next tab, and that is the recordings tab. So from this tab, you can actually see screen recordings of how people are interacting with your site. Clicking on the link on the left, and then by clicking on the video, you can see where people are scrolling, how people are interacting. Now I find this really good because, say in this example, someone thought that my bullet point was actually a clickable link. So maybe I need to refactor that, make it a bit more obvious in my design. Now the other thing we can do is also check out the scroll depth. So we can actually see where people are actually navigating on the page. So maybe we need to make sure that certain elements that we think people are clicking on need to be a little higher up. Now we can also see the page area. So we can actually see where people clicked on the page. And again, this is really, really handy information because after analyzing enough of these videos, you can kind of understand where the bottlenecks are and the friction are within your design and your page journey. We have finally got to the good part, heat mapping. Now, in order to access your heat maps, click on the big heat map tab at the top. From here, you're going to see a list of your most popular pages. Now, this list is filtered to 5 pages only, and if you click on the show more, you can see that there's plenty more options there. Now, when I click on any of the view heat map buttons, my heat map will be loaded. The great thing about the heat mapping report is you can see exactly where people are clicking on your page. In this particular example, we can see that there's 57 people clicking on the header. We can see that we've got clicks all over the main banner. We've got 75 clicks on this link. We've got 31 clicks over here. There's loads of clicks all over this page. Now, the sad thing is that if we look on the left-hand side of my sidebar, not a single sausage is clicked on my Contentful book link. If I scroll further down, we can see that no one's clicking on my newsletter. So this tells me that I really need to basically reorder these elements and maybe redesign them with a clearer CTA. Just like the screen recording tab, we also have the ability to filter this page by the scroll depth by clicking on the scroll button. From here, we can see how far people are actually navigating the page. We also have the ability to check the most popular areas by clicking on the area button. If everything in this video looks good for you, however you're struggling with Next.js, then you're also in luck. I've also recorded a video on how to get up and running with a Next.js website and Netlify in production in under 10 minutes. So if you want to understand how to install Next.js, I recommend you click on this video right here because that's going to have you covered. Otherwise, I hope you found some value from this video. Hope you're having a great day in this world. I'm assuming that you've hit subscribe and the like button because you're a legend. Until next time, happy coding.